Yeah.
Hello, hello, hello. I am absolutely delighted to be back with actually someone who I spoke to. I think it's been a couple of years since we spoke, Jackie. The lovely, lovely Jackie White from Inspirations PLC. So we have spoken before, but it's been a long while. So first and foremost,
Yeah.
how are you, Jackie?
I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, really well. Yeah, excited to be on here with you, Catherine. Thank you.
It's been so long overdue because, Jackie, you're someone that I discovered right at the start of all the lockdown processes, because you're someone that's got such a breadth of interest and knowledge and information that you share with everyone, but also something that's going to fit really nicely into our subject matter today, of happiness and how we maintain that balance, because you seem to do that. Hi, Andrew, in the chat. That's lovely. Thank you, anyone who's joining us in the chat. As we go through, please do tell us where you're from, and do not be shy as we go through to ask any questions that you want to Jackie or myself. So before we get stuck into this lovely, lovely subject today, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, Jackie, and the work that you do?
Lovely. Well, thank you, Catherine. I started Inspirations Positive Living Group. It's almost the 10th anniversary, actually, on the 1st of April. Will be 10 years. And that was through, I'd run a happiness course in 2012. And then someone that came along on that course started up the Positive Living Group well, she was doing it in 4 different areas around Southampton. And she was a month in, and she said that because of her personal situation, she couldn't continue it. But would I like to carry on with it? And I just knew it was for me. Even though I'd been to loads of the positive living groups around, I'd never considered doing it for myself. I was more interested in just getting the happiness workshops, doing happiness workshops and that. So I never really considered running positive living group. But as soon as she said that, I thought that encompasses everything that I'm interested in, because I'm interested in everything. So and Sally, this was, she had got 6 months of speakers booked up in advance, because I probably wouldn't have known where to start with that. And so I went into it with knowing that I was going to, every week in person, we went along to the first venue. Well, where she had it in 4 different venues, I changed it just to the one in Southampton. I thought then everybody knows it's sort of local to all 4 areas that she had booked up, which was wonderful. I did start doing the first, but then I thought it's too much, so we just came to Southampton, and I ran it in Southampton then for, well, 8 years before, 7 years, obviously. Is it nearly 3 years that since lockdown? Yeah.
I know. I just, where does the time go? Honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was 7 years every week in person. And then obviously in March we couldn't go there to that venue. I never ever considered doing anything online, but then a girl messaged me and said, oh, she knew how to get onto YouTube, and would I interview her on YouTube, and told me how to do it. So I did a couple of them, and I thought, wow, I was off with that then. But obviously I've been taken off of YouTube now.
Yes, I think we went through that sort of similarly. This is my second channel, and oh my goodness, the hassle of starting a second one. All my animal videos, Jackie, just got wiped because, of course, I didn't realize that I was going to get my channel deleted overnight with no warning. And I had years and years of animal health videos on there, and I didn't have any backup. So you live and learn. It's a good lesson in letting go. And I love that, because I just didn't know. Actually, I must have not asked you last time how you got started, and I didn't realize you've been on this journey, and sharing your information and passion for so long. That's really wonderful, and it's so lovely to see everyone joining us from all over the world. Thank you so much, everyone. I think one of the things I wanted to ask you first, Jackie, is on this roller coaster. Let's just talk about, and we all know the platform we're on, so everyone listening is used to the code words. But this roller coaster of life that we find ourselves in this human body, on this term that we've chosen to incarnate, how do you balance? I've seen you talk to so many different people over the last few years with so many different areas, some health related, some what we would call more the intel related side of things. How do you balance finding what's going on in the world with actually living your most joyous life?
Well, honestly, it is through Ho'oponopono, I believe. Well, also, like I trained in 2010 as a happiness coach. Um, I mean, I think I'll go back to 1997 when I broke my leg, and I was able to watch Oprah Winfrey every day on the telly while my mum looked after me and the boys, which was amazing. But she introduced me to the people like Wayne Dyer, Louise Hay, Jerry and Esther Hicks, all these different, and it was just like, obviously, I know that's a name that we don't want to talk about now, but she has done so much good for the world.
I agree.
So yeah.
Can I just say that? I think you've hit on something really important there, because over the last few years, we've had so many people saying, oh, you mustn't like that person anymore because of certain decisions or certain things that they're supporting. But they've also done so much good to so many people.
So much good. Who she, Michael Tellinger. Is it
Yeah.
Michael Tellinger? No, Michael Singer as
Michael
well.
Singer, yes.
Yeah. The amount of wonderful people that I've seen because I've been watching that show. And then it was in 2010 in the January, I was watching an old Oprah Winfrey one with Robert Holden in. And well, I was ironing at the time, but just had it on in the background. And then I thought, oh, this is so interesting. He was so English and he was in America with her, which was like, amazing. Went and sat down and watched it. And then I come upstairs, got the computer on to see where he's based and what he's doing. And they on my actual birthday of that year was a starting a happiness course for coaching happiness.
Wow.
So it just really, I'd never, because she talked about so much about life purpose and that, and I didn't know what my life purpose was, or I didn't realize that everything you do is actually your life purpose.
Yes.
Just being aware of that, but at the time searching, and but hearing him and talking about happiness, I thought, gosh, that is for me. And I just loved it. I went away in late June for just 1 week, 64 people from all over the world. It was really one of the best experiences of my life. I learned about happiness, laughter yoga there. We went out in Hyde Park every morning doing laughter yoga before we went into doing the happiness. Not that that was part of it. It was just there was happiness, laughter yoga people there. But yeah, it was just the most incredible experience. And then I came back from that just wanting to tell everyone what I'd learned, basically about loving yourself, because it's called a happiness coaching course, coaching happiness, but really it's all about loving yourself. It was really understanding what it means to love yourself. And basically everything since that is really what people want you to understand is how to love yourself. And Ho'oponopono the same. It was quite early on. I was running a happiness course, and there was a girl on there that had the Zero Limits by Joe Vitale.
Yes.
And yes, and that was like a big new self-help thing at the time. So she said to us about that book, but I got the CD and I was playing it as I drove along all the time. So I really loved that.
That's exactly what I did with my friend Rachel, and we were just like playing it the whole time. It was hysterical.
Absolutely. I mean, well, like you said though earlier, you forgot about it then. I did actually, because I didn't really. I'm so grateful that he brought that out to the world. and what he did for Ho'oponopono, without a doubt. But something didn't resonate with me with him. And then I found Mabel Katz. I don't know if you know Mabel Katz, but she lived with Dr. Hew Len, the Ho'oponopono, the real man that brought it to the world, I think, really.
Yeah.
And she lived with him for 11 years. I'll just show you that. That's Mabel Katz.
Ah,
Um,
brilliant.
and not romantically, she just lived with him
Yeah.
because of what she was going through. And then when he said he was retiring, she took it over, and she's written a few books since. Absolutely brilliant. And how she speaks about it. So where Joe Vitale had just done a couple of workshops with Dr. Hew Len, Mabel had lived with him for 11 years. So really, really resonated with me for that. And then I saw Joe Vitale was doing a online Ho'oponopono course. And so I did that then. And then I did the advanced course. So I just love it. It just really went in with happiness so well, combined, that I think that's how I stay as balanced. Jackie brought Dr. Joe Dispenza to Southampton, his first event here. Thank you, Joe. Yeah.
Oh, I love Dr. Joe Dispenza. I've been to a few of his live events, but I haven't done the week-long retreat yet, but I am manifesting that. Absolutely wonderful. So I didn't realize you'd done that. This just gets better and better. So I think most people watching know what Ho'oponopono is, but there will be some that don't. So could you just tell us the principles of the story behind it and why this has been so transformational in your life?
Absolutely. So the first thing I heard about it was the story of Dr. Hew Len. He had a daughter, 13 years old, who had shingles, and he'd been to every doctor and therapist, holistic, and nothing cured this poor girl. But then he went to see Morna Simeona, who was a kahuna in Hawaii. That's just a mouthful. But anyway, she was well known for Ho'oponopono teachings in Hawaii. And so he took his daughter along to see her. And not saying that Morna cured the girl, but the girl was cured after going to Morna. So he knew there had to be something about Ho'oponopono that obviously worked. So he went along to Morna's workshops. He went along the first time and he just couldn't get it. He had to leave because she was on about spirit. He was a very logical man, scientific, and she was talking about hugging trees and elementals, and it was just way off of what he understood. He went another time again. Before the third time, he just thought he'll stay with it. So on the third time, which was the late 70s, he went along and he stayed with her then, and he actually stayed with her until she transitioned in 1992. So he learned from her from late 70s right the way through to 1992. And in the midst of that, in the middle of the 80s, he was asked to go to a hospital for the criminally insane patients in Hawaii. And at that time, this particular ward had the most awful, well, if we're judging, really bad criminals in there. They were shackled, highly medicated. Staffing was horrendous because no one wanted to be there. The paint wouldn't even stay on the walls. So the whole place was very, very unloved, and they couldn't keep any staff. So he was asked to go there, but he only went on the proviso that he would not have to see the patients. And he'd just come in. The nurses just thought, well, he's a pleasant man, but, nothing really. He'd just say good morning and go in his room. But after about 4 months, the shackles were coming off, the medication was being lowered, the staffing was so much better, the paint was staying on the walls. All these things were improving. So they knew he had to be doing something, even though it didn't appear that he was. And so they asked if he would share with them what he was doing. And so he did. He'd go into his room every morning, take out a file of one of the patients, and read what they'd done, and bearing in mind they'd committed the most heinous of crimes. And he would read through all that, and whatever came up for him in reading what they'd done, if it was anger, if he felt sick, whatever came up for him, he would just say over and over again, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, and thank you. And he would just say that over and over again until he felt some relief within him. So the whole, I'll just get this. The whole sentence, but you don't need to say the whole sentence, but just so you've got an understanding of what the whole sentence is. I'm sorry for whatever programming is in me that has created this event. Please forgive me for being unconscious to my own thought processes. I love you, which connects you to your higher self. I am returning to source and wiping my inner whiteboard clean. And thank you for releasing this programming from my being. So in that, all you have to say is, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, and thank you. But divinity knows that you're actually saying that whole sentence, that you're asking to be cleared and cleansed of all these old programs, old tapes replaying. So by doing that, he was just making himself feel better. Really, that is the simplicity of it. There's a lot more, that I could talk about within that, but that is the main story. After 4 years, that entire ward was shut down. There was no need for it. There was some people that went back to when they had a retrial or whatever, they would stand up in court, because then the patients as well were told what Ho'oponopono was all about. And they would stand up and take 100% responsibility. So in doing that, that situation has been brought to his attention, to Dr. Hew Len's attention. So it's for him to clear and clean on, because we're all connected in some way. And you're taking responsibility for that. So whatever comes up in your reality, and bearing in mind, we all know that we create our own reality. So when he is clearing and cleansing that, he's clearing it for his ancestors, he's clearing it for all the people involved, but he's not deciding, even though he's reading that and he's just clearing himself. It's not that he's clearing what that person's done, he's just clearing himself of any feelings that have come up within him. Divinity knows what needs to be cleared, not you're not thinking of a particular situation that needs clearing, because only God knows what needs to be cleared from you. And he also says, if you tried to clear everything that's going on in your reality at one time, you'd shrivel up like a prune.
Yes. Now, there's a couple of really important things here. I'm loving this so much. And thank you so much for your support in the comments. So one thing, and Harry, connect me if I'm reading your comment wrong, but I want you to address this bit here, Jackie. Harry's putting a comment, it's all my fault. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you. Now, can you talk us through where some people are feeling that, that this prayer is it's all my fault, which isn't my understanding of it?
No, not my understanding either. I am 100% responsible, but that's not through guilt or blame or shame. You are just 100, you just know it's come into your reality, so you are 100% responsible. But fault is seems a heavy guilt thing. So yeah, it's just a rewording. I do understand why you said that, to be honest. Yeah. Because that, if you're saying you're 100% responsible, then obviously people would think, well, it is your fault then, because even now things can happen and you think, well, I didn't do that. Well, but of course I did in some way. That's happened. And you're always, the coincidence is, if something's happened and you're in that situation, what's the common denominator? You're there. So in some way.
Is it a bit like the question that none of us can ever answer? if a tree falls in the forest and no one hears it, did it really fall? To me, it's a similar analogy, because if it we know through quantum physics now that just the observer effect will affect the reality of what we see. So therefore, with all this journey that everyone's been on for, let's talk about the last few years of awakening, but obviously a lot of people have been on that journey for a lot longer. If you're not observing it, is it really happening? And it's a conscious issue. It's a complex issue, isn't it? But I suppose, am I correct in my interpretation, Jackie, that the whole point about this Ho'oponopono prayer is it's like pressing the delete, the erase button on the computer and sort of
Absolutely.
resetting, because where attention goes, energy flows, and we want to reset.
So I'll just show you this, if this helps at all. We are either coming from memories. So we're either coming from memories. Can you see that?
Yes.
That one. Or we're going to be at 0, a blank screen. That's it.
Yeah.
So we're either coming from memory or we're at 0. And that's when inspiration can come in. So what was your question again, Catherine?
The question, well, it was really just in terms of going back to Harry's comment, and I think a lot of us can, oh no, I keep doing this, I keep pressing my screen and it all goes wrong. I haven't quite got the extra screen. Harry was saying about, it's all my fault. I'm sorry. Please
Yes.
forgive me. Thank
Yes.
you. And we see why you're saying that, Harry. This isn't a criticism. I think it's just an interesting discussion about how people view things and where you put your attention. So for me, I had to do quite a lot of work on the intention behind it. And I'm a type of person, Jackie, where I can get very in my head and overthink things.
Absolutely. Yes.
I think most empaths, we do carry that burden quite a lot. So is it really about, sort of clearing that intention and starting from a fresh state, because we don't have to carry that rucksack and burden with us?
Exactly. It is just clearing and cleansing everything from you. And well, I say divinity, it's not actually divinity. So we have the mind. There's 3 parts in the mind. We have the superconscious, which is our higher self. We have the conscious mind, which is our mental self. And we have the subconscious, which is our inner child. And it's our inner child that runs our whole body, that remembers to breathe without us having to think about anything. Our inner child holds all our memories. So when you're actually saying, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you and thank you, you are saying it. Mabel Katz would say this. I don't think it's in Joe Vitale's, but that's fine. But what I love about Mabel Katz, she really acknowledges your inner child. So you're saying that to your inner child, loving your inner child, that 7-year-old little girl or boy that feels neglected or lost sometimes. You're actually apologizing to them because they felt neglected or not secure. So you're actually saying it to the inner child, and then the inner child knows, because it does all your breathing, it runs your life for you, knows what you need to let go of. So it lets it go to divinity, to the higher self. The higher self or divinity clears and cleanses, and then you come back as a 0 at 0 with inspiration. So when you get an inspiration, when you get a good idea come in, just act on it straight away. So yes, what Harry is saying, when we go back to that, you are 100% responsible, because you're not blaming or shaming anyone else, because there is no one else in your reality. It's a big thing our logical mind wants to understand it.
Yeah, it's such a big thing. And I love this comment here. Sorry, I can't pronounce your name very well. I'm hopeless with names. I do apologize. But about my tree falling in the forest, it is very complex. But one of the things I really love about this, Jackie, is there's a whole thing that's come up for a lot of people as you go down the different healing modalities, spiritual methods, there's so many out there, and some resonate, everyone will resonate with different things. But this whole thing about permission, about is it right in any way to heal other people without their permission? So what I love about the Ho'oponopono is you're not doing or projecting any energy to other people. You're clearing your reality, because
yes.
we can't get offended by something that isn't in our reality. It's us that's being offended. It's very complicated to explain these things to people, isn't it?
But it's so simple if you understand it.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's resonated with me so much, the simplicity of it. Because like Dr. Hew Len, he would just say, right, where's all the bullshit questions? Because everything is of no consequence if you understand that you've just literally got to take the 100% responsibility without feeling any guilt. But just know that if it's in your reality on some level, you have brought this around in your reality, and it's for you to clear and clean on. You don't have to worry about anyone else involved with it. You just, for yourself, just say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you and thank you. Not even with intention, you're just saying that over and over again, because that would be one step from being at zero if you were doing it with intention. But just, it's a 24/7 thing. It's like driving. You get in a car, you don't have to think afterwards. We've all said that, but you don't even have to think about how you drive. So you don't even have to think about it. Literally, you're just saying, and Mabel Katz is even saying that you really only need to say, I love you and thank you. Can you imagine if everybody in the world was saying, I love you and thank you all the time in their mind, what the aura around them with love and gratitude? I love you and thank you. I love you and thank you. If that's going over in your mind instead of what we replay, if there's something going on for us and we're replaying it over and over again, making it worse and worse in our minds. But if we're just saying, I love you and thank you, what could be better than putting that out into the world?
I love it. I absolutely love it. And again, it's interesting when you're on this journey of discovery, and I'm so fascinated by so many of the things. And that's why I love the fact that you talk to so many people as well, because I see you talk to a lot of people and bring out these different modalities and different healing modalities and things. And you do it in a very non-judgment way, because obviously most people who are in the healing modalities are doing it from good intent. There's always a few sort of people in there that are imposters, but not everything's going to resonate with everyone. So do you find that by using the Ho'oponopono, it helps you to stay out of a state of judgment for yourself and for others?
Honestly, I do. Honestly, literally, I just get an idea. So I heard Pam Gregory talking about Vida Alston the other day, who you've heard of Dr. Emoto with the water.
I love that. Just was one of the transformational moments for me. Yeah.
Absolutely. So beautiful. And so Pam has somehow found Vida's
So I
work
just say I've got my flask structured water glass as we speak, and my flask structured water bottle. Just talk about the Dr. Emoto. I love them. Yeah. Sorry,
I haven't got it up here. I had the most amazing, you've just reminded me, I've just had the most amazing gift sent to me from a girl that watches my videos. And she has sent me a blue bottle, a litre blue bottle with Ho'oponopono written on it, with love, compassion, forgiveness, and gratitude written on it as well. The most beautiful gift.
Beautiful.
So yeah, that just reminded me of that. But yes, so Dr. Emoto, Vida Alston, is now, I'm going to be speaking with her. So it just come to my mind. In fact, I was at a Mind Body Spirit Fair on Sunday last week, and I was with Joe Hayes, who's here today with us, and he said something about Vida Alston, and I said, I'm going to ask her to do a talk, and he said, really? And then within a day, I've got a reply, and she's doing a talk with me. Yeah.
I really can't wait to tune into that one, because it's something that I'm so passionate about, because you know, when there's so much out there on different levels for everyone, and there's beautiful supplements people could take, there's tools, there's training you can do, there's all these different options open. But the thing I love, Jackie, is that there really is something for everyone, regardless of what your budget is, what your belief systems. It's important that you find sort of what works for you. A few people saying that they love their flasker. Where do you get the structured bottles? Hopefully Andrea will put a link in the chat, please, Andrea, for the flasker structured bottles. If you go to my catherineedwards.life, there's a link there. And there's also a lovely video with the founder of Flasker, who's the most amazing. It's just such a beautiful company. You know, when you meet people, Jackie, and everything about their whole vibration is just so wonderful. That's what this company are like. I've given them for so many gifts, because it's such a beautiful gift that you can give. And particularly when we're working with animals and they're so dependent on our on the decisions we make for them. But the water talk's going to be amazing. So talk me through about how important for you, as you've been on this journey of talking to lots of different people, discovering lots of realities of what things have been coming out. You know, we've talked about some of the people like Oprah and things like this, and some of the, I mean, I've never met the woman. You know, I've seen all the stories and heard all the rumors, and I'm not saying that I don't believe they're true, but taking it back to your example with the Ho'oponopono in the prison, where these people had done these atrocious things, and then they were, and this is a true story, folks, you can look it up yourselves, rehabilitated. How does that make you feel, Jackie, about all these things we're finding out in the world and what hope there is for the future?
Wow. I think that's a perfect example, really, because when I hear all this, I'm just straight away, I love you and thank you. I love you and thank you. Clearing that from whatever part I've played in that to bring it to my attention. So I'm clearing myself all the time, and not getting wound up or too involved with these things. I'm then hearing about all the people that are doing so much good for us as well, on the campaign trails, you know. And again, equally, I would just say I love you and thank you to them, because the world is working, isn't it? You know, that gives you hope. But all you have to do, or I have to do, and I'm not saying, I mean, I did go to a talk in Bournemouth 2 years ago, an in-person talk, nearly 2 years ago. And there was a girl there, and while I was talking about Ho'oponopono, there was a few of them there, you know, and they were all listening and asking questions. It was lovely. But there was one particular girl, and she had a book up in front of her like that. And I said, "Are you okay?" And she didn't respond. So I said, "Is that lady okay?" So the girl next to her said, "She's asking you if you're okay." Anyway, she put the book down and she said, "I just don't know what you're expecting me to do with this." I said, "Oh my goodness, I'm not expecting you to do anything with it. I'm only telling you how Ho'oponopono helps me." But that was a gift to me that she was behaving like that, because I just cleared and cleared. Obviously, it's still in my mind because that's come up, but just a memory of that come up to me then, and I'm still cleaning on that. But it's just, I wouldn't expect anyone to take this on for themselves if it didn't resonate. It just resonates for me. It works for me. I think it keeps me very balanced, because I don't, literally, the way Dr. Hew Len says, you know, anything that comes up, because our logical mind always wants to analyze and understand everything, make a point. You know how sometimes on Facebook or whatever, you can see these whole great arguments going on. Don't get involved in that. Just say, "I love you and thank you. I love you and thank you." You know, if we're just putting love and gratitude into the world, what could be better?
It's so true. And again, I feel like the last week I've been on quite a roller coaster energetically, and I'm interviewing this amazing lady. Where have I put it? So I don't know if you've heard of Kelly Thiel. Don't know if everyone can see that. So Kelly Thiel, and she's written this lovely book, Unapologetic unapologetically glorious, and she is a survivor of the Nexium cult. She's been in the series called Seduce, the documentary about it, and that book, I would recommend everyone to get a copy of Kelly Thiel's book. I'll put the link below when I finish. Kelly Thiel, Thiel, Unapologetically Glorious. Now, for anyone who's been on this self-discovery journey, it's such a powerful book, not just about cults or things like this, just about how when we're all searching for something outside of us. And it's interesting. Trust me, I've looked into so many different healing modalities and things because I love it. I find it all fascinating. And also, I do truly believe there's no one magic pill for anything. You know, all these things, as you say all the time, Jackie, they have to resonate with you. But this is just such a lovely, honest reflection of Kelly's journey, a realization that actually this does all come back to the same simple principles. When we really want to, yes, we can get caught up in all the woes and problems of the world. And of course, we're all going to have to go through phases. I think it's a bit like the grief cycle to me, Jackie, where you go through stages of discovery and realization, and then you decide what you're going to do about it, sort of thing. There's lovely spiral of life going round. But coming back to the judgment thing, and you said something earlier on, really important, I think, about your happiness course was really all about self-love. Can you talk about that a little bit more and how this plays into people being able to cope with everything that they're discovering at the moment?
Yeah, there's so much within that. So the self-love, and I can honestly say I still don't 100% do self-love for myself. Like, you can realize at times, you know, that wasn't the most loving thing I could have done for me. Oh, bless, thank you for these messages. How lovely. But yeah, so when I went on the happiness course in 2010, I'd heard people say about loving yourself and just thought it was a cliche, really, that, you know, never really understood the meaning of loving yourself. I honestly didn't. And people can think it's a selfish thing, you know, to love yourself, but in no way is it. We could speak to ourselves more harshly than we would speak to anyone else. We can criticize ourselves so quickly for anything that we do, or just feel bad, make ourselves feel bad. There can be people very close to you that know your Achilles heel, and they can make you feel stupid. But once you understand happiness and Ho'oponopono, or self-love and Ho'oponopono, which again are equally, there's so much about self-love within Ho'oponopono, and at the baseline, I'm sure, is self-love for both of those, for happiness and Ho'oponopono. So once you get to understand, so we had 15 chapters throughout that week of happiness, and it was all different chapters really about different ways of understanding and loving yourself. I'll just tell you this one particular story. One day there, bearing in mind I'd never been away from her, I mean, ridiculous, I'd never been on a course or anything. This was 2010, and I was sat next to a girl, and we were given a project, like a thing to do, where we had to write down 100 words of joy, what joy meant for us, or you know, words of joy. So compassion, harmony, balance, love, gratitude. So whatever words you could think, positive words, basically 100 positive words. And being the good girl that I'd always been, you know, I'm doing these 100 words, and I've counted it up, and I've got to 85, and I've looked at the girl next to me, and she's literally just written the word B-E, great big B-E, and she was colouring the B in. And how stupid, but in my mind I was thinking she'll be in trouble because she's not doing what we've been told to do.
Oh,
Ridiculous. So then we went round, you know, we had to give a few words each of our 100 that no one else had said. And I thought, wonder what she's going to say. And anyway, so I said my few words, and then it came to the girl next to me. And so she said, this is what I've done. And it was perfectly fine, of course it was, but she's just being. And that was such a huge life lesson for me. She was being. So the site, she had coloured in the B but left the E. So she said, I am becoming me. So the B she'd coloured in because that's the life she'd already got to at that point. And she'd left the E to be coloured in for what the next part of her life was going to be.
Wow, that's deep.
I mean, that was so beautiful. Really, it was
Yeah.
so wonderful. So yeah, that was a good lesson for me in self-love, actually, because she didn't worry what anyone thought or if she was going to be, not obviously not in trouble, but I was thinking, how would she explain that away? She's not done what she
I know,
anyway.
isn't it? The programming, when we see it, we can laugh at it, can't we?
Yeah, absolutely. But that has been, so now when you do a mandala and that, and you have to colour in, I love mandalas, but I always go outside the box now. I colour outside the box, not just the mandala inside
Yeah.
Yeah, I just hope I'm more outside the box thinking than I ever was. Yeah.
Oh, it's just,
So self-love is just being good to yourself, kind to yourself, speaking lovingly to yourself. Waking up, looking in the mirror and saying, I love you, Jackie. Just whatever. So the most loving person, so I always think of the dogs,
just
how
about
much I love them.
got mine in the background as always.
Yeah, they haven't come in. I am surprised. But anyway, so I love them so unconditionally. And vice versa. So they really teach you so much. And I hope I treat myself same way as I think of them and my sons. Like I really hope I love myself as much as I can say I love my sons, my family, obviously my dogs. Yeah.
I love it.
So it's really understanding that.
Yeah, I've got Pumpkin, the cat, who's come to join and listen. So he normally knocks everything flying in a minute. So I'm asking him to stay. Now, talking of animals, I find that you can use Ho'oponopono very much when you're dealing with animals as well, because when you get yourself into that reset energy, it transfers onto the animals as well. So anyone who's got animals that might be stressed or suffering from an illness or might be reactive or nervous or whatever, please do consider that you can really help your animals by using this on yourself.
Totally agree. Yeah. Although I don't always think of that because Freddie is such a live wire. I'm not always thinking of Ho'oponopono when he's careering round the room.
Oh, he's adorable. How
Actually,
old
I
is
need
he?
to do that. He's 15 months now.
Is he
16
really?
months, actually.
I can remember
Yeah,
that was the last time we spoke, just after you got him. How exciting. It's such a wonderful time. And it's so wonderful to see that exuberance for life, isn't it? And, I think for me, having my animals, thank you for all the people that are just joining now. Thank you so much. And we've got a lovely comment by Harry here. Imagine swimming pools filled with energized water instead of chlorinated water and energized ocean fronts. Yeah, what a beautiful idea, Harry.
beautiful.
Yeah, well,
It's all, how we think of things, isn't it?
yeah.
So I had to take antibiotics recently for a gum infection, and I don't believe they're very good for you. So as I was taking them, I was thinking, this is really benefiting me. Also Ho'oponopono, of course, but also consciously thinking these are really gonna be good for me, not thinking what I really know probably is true of a antibiotic. Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean, and I talk to people as well because I work a lot with one-on-one with people and their animals, and I think this is the issue. Is like, for me, all these tools are out there to help us all and use as and when we need, because at different stages in our life we'll be drawn to different things. So I, Jackie, 100% believe that we can cure anything just by our thoughts alone. However,
Yes.
I'm not in control of my thoughts enough yet, despite my years of work, to do that. So do I believe it's possible? Yes. Have I seen other people do it? Yes. Am I at that level of mastery myself yet? No. So therefore, I use a lot of these other supplements, tools, techniques, healing modalities to jumpstart me up that process, which is wonderful. And some people don't need those. So, you know, this is what I love. And then perhaps if you're feeling a little bit fragile, it might help to have some of these tools in your toolkit that you can use. And then when you're feeling a little bit more robust, you might not need them. So I think this is the beauty of having these things in is I was speaking to my friend Bryce about it the weekend where we were talking about animals and how we as the human caretakers for the animals in our lives can really help them or hinder them with our decision, because it works both ways. And it's like when you know you've got these tools in your toolkit, personally, I don't get so affected by what might be happening out there so much. Of course, we're all connected, you know, what's out there is in here and vice versa. But it doesn't stress me out anymore because I know I've got things that I can do to counteract the challenges that might come my way.
And that goes back to that, you know, we're either coming from memories or we're coming from zero.
Yes.
And with that in mind, you know, we're clearing ourselves to be at zero so divinity can bring in the inspiration needed for the next step. So I don't ever, people say, what's your goal for this year? What are you hoping to achieve this year? As it comes, I go with it. I don't know that I've ever set goals. And not only that, it's like starting the new year with New Year resolutions. You just criticize yourself if you don't stick to it, you know. So just, yeah, I love you and thank you. We are born perfect. We are perfect, but our memories are not perfect. And what I love is with Ho'oponopono, you can clear it for your ancestors as well. This is the generation that once you understand that.
Well, I just want to
Linda.
put Linda's beautiful comment out there. Thank you so much. I agree with you wholehearted, Linda. Jackie, you are a beautiful soul, and we are very grateful for you sharing these lessons with us. We really are. Because we can get so carried away, can't we, Jackie? And I get it. You've interviewed a lot of people over the last few years who've been bringing a lot of realizations to the forefront about what has been going on that we weren't aware of. And you can see where the sentence "ignorance is bliss" comes from at times, because, you know, do you get to that point sometimes where you think you wish you didn't know? But once you do know, there's a reason why that's been brought into your awareness.
Absolutely. I don't feel bad in any way for the conversations that I've had with people. I know I was taken off of YouTube for it, but I think it's right to bring the awareness of the people that that resonate with me, that I believe in. They've done such good works. We spoke about John O'Looney, Jacqueline Dunn, Pam Gregory, Donna Maxey. They're all going to come to an event that I've got in Romsey soon. Ray Savage, he's all about common law. You know, in all of that, I can still be doing Ho'oponopono, but I can still appreciate that these people have woken so many people up to, the bravery of John O'Looney for what he's done. So I just honor that really by speaking to these people and thank them for what they're doing. Because I was one of those people that was asleep, 10 years ago, even though I was on this happiness trail, and that's what's come to wake me up. And it wasn't a quick journey to wake up. And I don't sound fully awake now, but it's always, we're learning more and more. But yeah, I like to speak to these people. They're doing amazing work for a beautiful golden era. Thank you. Happy Times, what a nice name. Life of Brian.
I know some people's handles are absolutely hysterical. You're right. That's why I spoke to John O'Looney. You can see him on my Rumble channel and BitChute channel. Have many conversations with John, and with Jacqueline is the most amazing lady. I'm sure I met Ray at the Hoona Flash event down in Glastonbury last year.
I bet you did.
And he was absolutely amazing. And I really wanted to catch up again with Ray. So we'll come on in a sec to talk about your events, because I really want people to know where they can find you. And don't worry, Life with Brian, I do train my mind a lot. It's just that it's perfectly imperfect at the moment, and I have good weeks and bad weeks. And sometimes I find this work easy, and other times I don't, you know. And absolutely, I use light therapy, I use sound therapy, all sorts of things are beautiful. So yes, so I'm just going through, I just wanted to acknowledge these lovely comments. And there, Elizabeth, yeah, the prayer is for every relationship that enters your life. Yeah, this is a really important point, isn't it? Never use the prayer to help someone without their permission. This has been coming up big time with me, whether it's with, you know, reading information on other people without their permission or whatever. It's something that is very tempting to do, but my belief is that's not what these tools were to be used for, whatever they might be, the tools. Talk us through your thoughts on that, Jackie.
Absolutely agree. The thing is with Ho'oponopono, there is only you in your reality. So you are only doing it for you. You're not thinking of, and so that's come into your reality, a situation that you would rather perhaps is not in your situation or in your awareness, but it's come into your awareness. You're not doing it for that person or for those people or for that situation. You are just clearing yourself of whatever divinity knows needs to be cleared for you. So it, you know, who are you doing for? Just for yourself, because there is only you in your reality. There is no question of what you're doing it for other people. You're just allowing your higher self, your divinity, your inner child is keeping you safe. The inner child that you've neglected for so long. So when you talk about self-love, I'll just go back over that. When you talk about self-love, you really need to be concentrating that as much as anything on your inner child, your little 7-year-old self or younger. Really loving her, loving him, nurturing her or him, making her feel safe, secure, wanted, loved, what she's been missing out on. She's then happily clearing and cleansing you of anything that's come into your reality that needs to be cleared and cleansed. So that's why it's a 24/7 job. Of course, you go through times where you don't think of doing it, but the more you can do it, for me personally, and I try to, I don't even try, I just do it now. But it just, I know I'm clearing and cleansing, and it's clearing it from my ancestors. But I don't even need to worry about that as long as it's clearing and cleansing it from me.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because we humans, we are meant to use all the tools that have been given to us, and obviously all the ones that have been hidden from us as well, which is how joyous it is when you think how much more we can achieve. Yeah, I think this is a beautiful thing. It's lovely to understand, but we don't need to understand. We just need to do it. It's like a lot of these practices, you can intellectualize them as much as you like, but if you're not actually doing it, nothing's going to change.
Exactly, yeah. And then you just trust that what needs to change, you know, in your life personally does change.
Yeah.
Since I connected with you 3 years ago, that our family and Jackie and all the brave warriors and Jacqueline and the rest. Oh, how lovely.
Thank you, Linda. We really appreciate everyone's feedback. It really means a lot because we are all connecting. We are all walking each other's home, as Ram Dass and Bryce say, because, you know, when you hit on something very important at the start of this conversation. You can't feel negative emotions to others if they're not within you. You know, I absolutely love Wayne Dyer. I just love Wayne Dyer's work. I keep coming back to it over and over again. And, you know, one of his favorite sayings of mine is, if you squeeze an orange, only orange juice can come out. That emotion can't come out of you, whatever the trigger, unless that emotion is within you in the first place. So these same lessons being put by beautiful different spiritual teachers in different ways, and all these lovely tools that people like Jackie are introducing to us so that we can find what resonates for us and what works for us.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's all I can say, is that it resonated with me. It works for me. personally. It keeps me very balanced, I'm pretty sure. Can you heal someone else? No, there is no one else. There is only you. So if you feel someone else needs healing, then it's you that needs healing. And then you're saying that to heal yourself. They are in your awareness, but that awareness is you. So you're clearing and cleansing for you. I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you and thank you. I'll repeat. Shall I say the whole sentence again,
Please
what
do.
that
I
actually means?
love it. I absolutely love it. Please do.
So I am sorry for whatever programming is in me that has created this event. For whatever programming is in me that has created this event. Please forgive me for being unconscious to my own thought processes. Please forgive me for being unconscious to my own thought processes. I love you, which connects you to your higher self. I am returning to source and wiping my inner whiteboard clean. So where we had the picture of just the memories that we come from memories, or we have the picture of the blank screen, we're wiping our inner whiteboard clean by just saying, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, and thank you. And then thank you for releasing this programming from me. All these old tapes, programs, programs that keep repeating, we're clearing all of that from us. So yeah, that's just as simple as it is. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, and thank you. And then our analytical mind comes in with all these questions, but there's no, you just, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, and thank you. Yes,
I love
it's
it.
just the simplicity.
It is. It is the simplicity of it, which is so, so beautiful. So, please tell people what have now below the video. You should all know how to find the links in the comments blocks below the video. If you're watching on a mobile, just click the more button and it will all come up. And you will find Jackie's links to how to connect with Jackie. But talk us through some of the events that you've got coming up, Jackie.
Well, the most, not every week, but I'm part of Conscious Cafe, which is a global space for people, Conscious Cafe. And that's where once a month I'll have a speaker for. What I love about Conscious Cafe, I will just say why I decided to go into Conscious Cafe, even though it's very similar to what I do, Inspirations Positive Living. But with Conscious Cafe, everyone gets a voice if you want one. And you can just listen if you don't. But we go out into a breakout room if it's been online with 3 questions of what we've been listening to. So the first time I went along to a Conscious Cafe meeting, it was about an evening where if you were a father or a mother, if you couldn't have children, if you had postnatal depression, postnatal depression. There is a word around that as well, isn't there? Or is it postnatal depression?
Yeah, postnatal depression. Yeah.
Yeah, where you don't resonate with the baby for a while or whatever. Anyway, so there's always something around that will be for someone. And we went off into a small group, 4 of us, and there was all the other groups with these 3 questions. And a girl in our group said that she had had postnatal depression, and she'd never spoken about it. And the child was like 17 then, and had quite a few issues and everything. The relief that girl, she said she'd never been talked about it, never felt safe enough to talk about how the guilt she felt within herself of not being able to bond with the baby straight away, and it was just the relief that she felt and how it helped her. And I thought, wow, that's amazing. So the last one we did was with Alice Heath, and we talked about love and unconditional love. And she had 3 questions around love. What real thought it's so easy just to say love yourself or love unconditionally. How much thought do we really give to that? So that was that one. This time we've got Walter Boyd. He lives in South Africa now, but he's a very good friend of mine. So this is all on my website, jackie-white.co.uk. But yeah, Walter, he lives in South Africa. He went out there at the very start we had a coffee together in Shirley, and he was going out on the Friday. Anyway, he's talking with me on the 7th of March about intuition. He's so intuitive, and he used to go to all the mind, body, spirit fairs and do the dowsing, and but he's just so intuitive, such a lovely guy. So he's got questions, and we'll go into breakout rooms with what he gives. Anyway, that's that one. But then we've got this in Romsey on March the 25th. We've got Pam Gregory, Donna Maxine White, Jacqueline Dunn, John O'Looney's joining us virtually from Milton Keynes, and Ray Savage on common law. But it's just going to be a really uplifting. These are people that have, through all this 3 years, have really inspired people to keep a high vibration, helped us navigate through all these times. Yeah, very, very good. John, with his bravery of what he's told, has hopefully made people second think about what they want to do when it comes to having anything, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, just a lovely gathering of people. We've got that, and then on the first Thursday of May, I'm starting a happiness and Ho'oponopono 6-week workshop
Oh, and
course.
that's brilliant. So is that on, because that was going to be my question on that. So is that on your website? People can book
It
on
is, yeah.
website, yeah, which the links are below, because I saw Linda saying, can Jackie, unfortunately the way StreamYard works, Linda, Jackie can't write in the comments on StreamYard, but all the links are below this video for Jackie. I've got sun coming through, which is amazing. So please do just click on the links to Jackie's website and you'll find all of that.
Look at all these comments, aren't they lovely?
I know,
really, really everyone.
So that workshop, if people want to know more about this, you can sign up for Jackie's workshop starting in May, you said.
Yeah, first Thursday of May. I'm not absolutely sure if that's the 4th, is it? Anyway, it goes through to the 6th of June. Yeah, every Thursday night for an hour and a half about happiness and Ho'oponopono and how they work together. And yeah,
that would be really
just
wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited. I've been asked for so long to do it, so I've got round to doing that now. But it won't be the only one. I'll carry on doing them. But yeah, I'm very excited to be doing that one.
Fantastic. Well, I just absolutely love it. I just wanted to finish off by saying, can you just tell us a couple of your biggest aha moments that you've had over this journey of yours?
Aha in what's going on?
Whatever, either what's going on or aha about getting back to the simple solutions, whatever comes to your mind.
I mean, that's what's so wonderful, really. It is just the simplicity. So that's the biggest thing for me, is just knowing that I've always got that to call on, whatever comes up for me. And obviously life happens, so there is things, and you don't think straight away, oh, consciously Ho'oponopono. But as soon as I do start to calm down, and then the Ho'oponopono comes in, you know, it's just, so that was, when you say aha moments, I know what you mean, but you know, like that girl doing the B-E.
Yes.
That was an aha moment for me. Oh God, I'm sure there's loads. You know, when I saw Joe Dispenza, going back to that, but I saw Joe Dispenza was going to be in Birmingham and London, and I said to Pam Gregory, who goes all over the world to see him, or did do you think he'll come to Southampton for us, Pam? And she said, no, I don't really, Jackie, because he only does, well, he concentrates more on workshops now rather than evening talks. And she said, but here's an email that you could send and just ask the question. But she said it took 3 months for him to do the whatever you do at the start of a book, you know, testimonial.
Yeah.
It took him 3 months to get that to me. So don't expect an answer. And you know what they say, send it to the universe and let it go. So I just sent the email off with no expectation whatsoever, but just grateful that she'd given me that email. The next morning, I had 3 possible dates that we could work with. I mean, see, I'm goosing it that now, absolutely goosing. And yeah, so just went from that, and then the speaker that I had that week, or a couple of weeks later, when I was just getting around to signing the contract, because this was the biggest thing I'd ever done. And it was huge. Like, it was such a thing, money, white, and everything. But anyway, I was going to sign the contract. And I had this speaker come along. I'd never spoken with him before, Paul Scadding, and he was a I Can Do It life coach.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I had no expectation, didn't know what he was like, but I'd heard he was a very nice guy. Well, he came up from Bournemouth on the train. And when I went, it was a good evening, very funny, fell on the floor. He just made us laugh. It was very good. But we had an hour to wait for him to go back to Bournemouth. So I took him down to the train station and he started talking about Joe Dispenza. And it was like, the synchronicity. So I said, and I hadn't told anyone because I didn't want to put a jinx on it. I mean, at that time, that was my thinking. This was in 2017. And so I told him, well, it was just like beside himself. And he said, I'm an events manager. I mean, can you believe it? So with him and me, and then he brought another girl on board, Liz, the three of us, it was just incredible. We got the venue, got 450 people came. It was just magical. It just all fell into place.
It just shows what can be done when you ask and then let go. So let go and let live. So
yeah,
I love it. I love it, Jackie. I've got so many more questions for you. I've absolutely loved it. The hour has flown past. I'm going to be Jackie back on. I know you're a very, very busy lady, but it's just so lovely. It's just such a pleasure to cover this now when I think people need it absolutely more than ever. This is solutions is I think what we need to be speaking about so much. And also sending love to all these other warriors that are out there doing this hard work and sharing it with us all. So there's a place for everyone, in my opinion, on this journey.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Catherine.
That's a pleasure. Thank you so much to everyone who's joined us. As Andrea said, I could listen to Jackie all day. So could I, Andrea. And thank you so much, for all this. We've got some lovely comments there. And we really appreciate all your energy of joining us. And if this does resonate with you, please do share it with some friends, because getting these positive solutions out to people, I think, it's such a kind gift we can do to people, because there's a lot of people who are worrying about a lot of areas of their life at the moment. So I'm going to be going straight to have a look at your course, Jackie. Any final words you want to leave everyone with?
Oh, thank you, and I love you.
Me too. Much love to everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.